What is up guys, David Zhao here, and Sony just recently released their new Sony ZV-E1, and I think it is the perfect camera for content creators. My full review is still about a week or two out. In the meantime, I wanted to give you guys 5 reasons why you should buy the Sony ZV-E1. So the first reason, and honestly this is the biggest reason, is that the Sony ZV-E1 has the same sensor as the Sony a7S III, the legendary a7S III, the camera that I've loved that shoots incredible 4K 422 10-bit footage, shoots 4K 60 frames per second. It's gonna have a firmware update coming soon. I don't know when that is, but soon, that'll also allow 4K 120 frames per second. So really this camera can do everything, and honestly, and then some more, that my a7S III can do, but coming in at $1,300 cheaper. Obviously, this whole video that you're watching is going to be shot on the Sony ZV-E1, so you can really be your own judge of what you think of the image quality, but I think it looks phenomenal. Because of the fact that it can shoot in 10-bit 422, I'm able to shoot in S-Log3, so we're getting more dynamic range, we're getting more color information, and then color grade it and really pull out all of these colors and really get all the highlights and shadows. Another huge bonus is that it also can do the same thing that the Sony a7S III can do, which is having a dual native ISO. So when you're shooting in S-Log3, right, your base ISO is 640, which means that's where you're getting the cleanest image possible. But as you keep going up, you're gonna get grainier, more digitally noisy image. But once you hit 12,800, there's a second floor there. And what that means is even when you're shooting at f4 indoors, you can shoot at 12,800 ISO and get a super clean image. The Sony ZV-E1 has been pretty controversial, and that's because it's a camera that packs, a ton of pro hardware, but then has a bunch of beginner software, right? It's targeted towards vloggers. Like, what does that even mean in 2023? What I honestly think that means is it's really trying to make a lot of these pro things that, the high-level content creators are doing in their videos more accessible to beginners who really don't know much about editing. And one of those things, right, is reason number 2, cinematic vlog mode. What this does is it bakes in these letter bars, right, to make it more cinematic and adds a color look to your footage, just baked onto it. And if you're somebody who's been making videos for a while, this is like, why would you do that? This is such a feature for noobs, right? I can do that in Premiere Pro or DaVinci or Final Cut Pro. I can go ahead and add those letter bars myself. I can color grade my footage to look cinematic and dramatic. But the thing is, it's twofold. This feature is, one, targeted towards people who don't know how to do that yet, right? But they still want to buy a camera that can really, really carry them into the future, right? They want a full frame camera. They want 422 10-bit, but they don't know how to work with S-Log3 yet. These features kind of bridge that gap and give them a way to do it without having to have the technical expertise or know-how in order to achieve that effect. But on the other hand, if you are the type of person that does use this kind of effect in your videos, right? The letterboxing, the color grading, well, this makes it faster. Now you don't have to do it in post. But let's do a test. Let's see how good this cinematic vlog setting is. I think that looks pretty decent. I mean, it looks better than some of the footage I shot and color graded myself when I first started making videos. I don't think it's that bad, and it's not like you have to use the feature. One other thing I forgot to say is that it does also force you to use 24 frames per second, which you might go, all right, that's fine. Except I have a secret. I shoot and edit and deliver everything in 30 frames per second. You can't change my mind. I used to be a 24 frames per second guy. I've left the cult. But what that does mean is you just watched 24 frame per second footage played back on a 30 frames per second video. So if it's a little choppy, that's why. One other thing is you've probably noticed I've been doing a lot of this walking away and walking towards the camera stuff going on. That's also because this camera has amazing autofocus. It's using the same AI autofocus system that's in the A7R5, a camera that is $1,700 more expensive than this camera, and it does insane. The tracking is phenomenal. It can track many different types of objects, right? It can track planes, cars, trains, people, animals, insects, I think. I'll have a full list on the screen. It uses an AI processing chip to kind of estimate, based on the type of object you selected, how to track that subject. So even if I turn away and I start walking away, right, it's still approximating going, hey, that's a person's head slash body. So it's gonna I hope so, at least. It should be autofocusing over here and tracking this. So here's another example, right? It should be eye autofocusing on my eyes. I'm walking away, right? But it has a face to track. What if I turn around, right? It should still be able to keep that focus track, focus pull. All right, not running into the camera, right? Hopefully it's locking on. I think it's pretty impressive. Another neat thing about the autofocus in this camera is that you can also register a face in the menu, and this way the camera knows to recognize your face, and despite the fact that you might be standing amongst a crowd of other faces, it will prioritize autofocus on your face. I think that's an awesome feature that should be in every video camera, because think about it, register like the bride's face during a wedding and now it only autofocuses on the bride's face and not randomly over to a bridesmaid in the background. I mean, just think about the applications. So another big reason why you should buy the Sony ZV-E1, and honestly one of the big reasons why I love this camera, is this feature called auto reframing. You honestly probably would think that I have a cameraman behind the camera right now and just, you know, panning and following my every motion right now, right? But no. That is AI at work right now, you know, reframing to track a subject, keep me centered, and, you know, maybe I'm gonna go off over here, and then maybe I'm gonna turn back around over here. I think this is such a neat feature. Yes, of course, you can do this in post-production and keyframe all of these moves, but if you do this kind of content a ton, then this would be kind of a pain, right? Now, you can save all of that time, just the press of a button by yourself. You can create some more dynamic talking head shots like this without bringing along a friend to be behind the camera and pan around and all of that. Like, this is giving me some major Ryan Trahan vibes right here. Seriously, this feature is so sick. I'm just gonna try to juke the camera real quick and see if it works. I almost fell. Did it keep up or did it lose me? I can honestly deal with being a one-man band most of the time, right? Like I can set up the camera and I can do all the talking head stuff and all that. I think the thing that drives me the most insane is the fact that I can't check my exposure while I'm over here. So sometimes I'll review the footage and I'm just blown out. And no, I refuse to shoot in any form of auto. You can't make me. So the fifth reason why you should buy the Sony ZV-E1 is because of the fact that they added this new stabilization mode. You're looking at it right here. So if you remember, in the past, we had no stabilization, standard stabilization, and then active stabilization, which did have a little bit of a crop. Well, dynamic stabilization is the brand new mode they added. You're gonna get way more of a crop. I'm currently shooting at 16 millimeters, and this is still a pretty tight framing. It looks more akin to something along the lines of 24 millimeters. But as you can tell, this is extremely smooth. If you do a lot of these walk and talk type shots, like I also do a lot of product videography, I also do a lot of just handheld work, no matter what I'm shooting, like, right, even for events. And having this dynamic stabilization, what it allows me to do is let me use my gimbal less, and it really just helps me smoothen out those handheld mini orbit shots that I like to do so much, and those, you know, handheld shots where you're just standing still. I think this makes all the difference. Let me know in the comment section down below on your guys' thoughts on the Sony ZV-E1. If you guys are interested in checking out the camera, I'll also have links in the description down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe, and get notified of when new videos are released. That's it for this one. Thank you for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Peace.